You know, Patty, we have booked campsites for a lot of years. And one of the things that I always look at because I kind of want to know up front is what is the cancellation policy? And I thought we should have a discussion about campgrounds and their cancellation policies in this episode of Travels with Delaney,
the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Patrick.
I'm Patty.
And we are joined on the old podcast couch today by none other than Mr. Truman Marshall and Ms. Bess Margaret.
Bessie Margaret.
For those of you who don't know, they are our Cavalier King Charles Spaniels.
Yeah.
Bessie actually decided to join us today.
She did. I know.
A lot of times she's over in the theater seating. But today she's hopped up here and
Truman's doing his crazy self.
You know, I was thinking about this. Bess has a birthday coming up.
She does, September 1st.
September 1st. She's going to be 6 years old. It's hard to believe.
I know.
Truman turned 6 back in April.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wonder, like, where has the time gone?
I know.
So
it just zips on by, doesn't it?
It does. And speaking of time going by, if you let your reservations go by too far, you might not be able to cancel them. But before we talk about that, we have to do another exciting round of this or that.
Okay.
You ready?
I think I'm ready.
You think you're ready?
I think.
All right. Well, Patty, we're going into, I think, both of our favorite time of the year for camping. Fall. And so if I were to say I'm going to go start a fire and make some soup over that fire,
okay,
would you rather have beef vegetable soup or chili?
I think I'm going to just, this is easy, chili.
Wow,
chili
that was a quick answer.
When I think of fall, I think of chili.
Okay.
Cinnamon rolls.
Yeah?
Yeah, and just
pumpkin pie and
cider and
apple cider donuts. And,
ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought for sure you'd give the old beef vegetable a little longer.
I do like a good. Your mom made a great beef veggie soup, but I'm thinking chili.
Chili.
Yeah.
All right, chili for the win.
Yeah, because you put cheese, crackers.
Oh, I do. You know, I actually like using things like corn chips instead of crackers on chili.
You get those curly kind. Yeah.
Or the other thing you use is just tortilla chips. We've done that before.
Right.
Tortilla chips.
Absolutely.
And again, a little sour cream.
Yeah. Don't forget that.
Yeah. So.
Nummy.
Nummy.
In the tummy.
All right. Well, that's not today's topic, though. So, you know, that does sound really good.
It does sound good.
And it's still fairly mild out here today in northeast Indiana.
The winds picked up as the days went on here.
Yeah, and it does feel like it's warmed up out there a little bit more than yesterday. So, well, we knew fall wasn't actually here.
Not yet.
Yeah, it just teased us
a little bit. That was
a
false.
Yeah, a false fall.
Yeah, you know it's going to warm up, but hopefully it won't get into the stinky, sweaty 90 something.
Let's hope not, but it's Indiana. Who knows?
You never know around here.
It's funny. We always say it's Indiana, but it's we're not the only state in the area. I think Ohio and Michigan.
I think
also.
Anywhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, today what I wanted to do, because in last week's episode, I alluded to cancellation policy. I said we need to do an episode where we talk about cancellation policies. And I thought, well, you know what, let's just do it because we teased it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, cancellation policies are out there for lots of different things, whether you're booking a campground, a hotel, an airline, rental car. Anytime you go to, quote, rent something, they're going to have policies about can you cancel, when can you cancel, how much money, if you can get any back. And so I thought what we'd do, and what really prompted this was, again, for those of you that don't know, I've been working full-time this summer at Happy Acres Campground in Angola, Indiana. And just this week, I have had a ton of people canceling. And they're just shocked that they can't call up and say, hey, I got a reservation for tonight, but we're not going to come, and we'd like all of our money back. And unfortunately, I have to say
that's not how it works.
That's not how it works, because our policies are clearly spelled out as far as what the cancellation policy is. And you sign, when you make your reservation, you sign off on our policies. But, it's just amazing to me how many people apparently don't take the time to read our policies or know, and then then they're mad because of our policies.
Well, and it just seemed like, what was it, Friday going into the weekend, people were canceling for Friday night. You're like, wait a minute, we
Right.
could have had that site. I've been turning people away.
Yeah. I had turned away quite a few people throughout the week because we were booked on full hookup sites, and then we had people wanting to cancel Friday morning for Friday night for the weekend. Um, and again, it puts us in kind of a weird position because from a business standpoint, that's money we can't get back if
Well, and you turn people away
right.
that would have, wanted to camp or
Right.
whatever. They didn't have an issue
Yeah.
or a reason or whatever.
And
Yeah.
so whenever I book a campsite, I'm always looking before I book it is number one, I want to know how much money do they want up front.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, can I get that money back? And number three, what are the rules around getting that money back if we do have to cancel? But I'm thinking other people don't take that
Probably
time
not.
to do that.
They probably don't. Just like anything, they don't always
Right.
read all the nooks and crannies. I'll
Right.
get it out.
And, and so, I know that in years past, and so I did a little research for this episode.
Yes.
Because I wanted to look at some other campgrounds. But I know in years past we booked out in Maine on the coast at Maguntacook by the sea, and their policy used to be that there was no refunds. Like when you booked it and you paid for it, you were going or you weren't getting your money back. Now, interestingly, because they did get bought out or something happened, there's new
different
ownership.
owners. Yep.
That policy has changed, and I'll read that one here in a little bit. But I was okay with that because I think I remember the first time I said, "Babe, like there's no refund. Are we sure we're going to do this?"
Right.
And we both agreed, yeah, we're willing to take that risk. And
Yeah.
so anyway, let's talk about our policy here, and
All
then we're
right.
going to look at, and then I'm going to share with you some other policies
All right.
of places we've camped.
Sure.
So
All right.
So here at Happy Acres, our policy is we do require payment in full at the time of booking.
Yep.
Now, not all campgrounds do that. Some just require a deposit, and that deposit can really vary. I know at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, they require one night. And it doesn't matter how many nights you book for. If you book for one night, you pay for one night. If you book for 3 nights, your deposit is one night. Heck, you could book a month and your deposit is one night. Okay. But here, and we've also booked at places, or I've booked for us places where it's like 50%. So if your total bill was $700, you have to pay $350 up front.
Right.
But at Happy Acres, we require full payment. Then, if you want to cancel, if you cancel 30 days or greater from your date of arrival, you get a 100% refund. So basically, 30 days out or farther, full refund. 29 days down to 7 days, so 1 week prior, you can get all of your money back less a $25 administrative fee. Okay? And then 6 days or less, there's no refunds. All right? So that's our policy here. But again, it appeared because, and funny thing was, we're not even talking about people who are like, oh, I'm on day 6. We were talking about literally people that morning saying, oh, I made a reservation and we decided that we got things going on. We're not coming. So anyway, so that's our policy. So I thought what I would do, and I like I said, I did a little research. So one that I looked at was the KOA at Keechee Gorge up in Vermont.
Yes, beautiful place.
And so I don't know how KOAs work, if they all have the same cancellation policies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because this is what theirs says. It says, we proudly follow the National KOA reservation and cancellation policy.
Okay.
So I don't know if all KOAs have to follow that, or if it's like we recommend this, but you don't have to follow it.
Sure.
I mean, the way they phrase it makes me think that maybe not all follow this. It says all cancellations will incur either a $10 cancellation fee or a full forfeiture of deposit. And then there's specific rules depending on what you're reserving. So an RV tent site, it's 48 hours are required. So if you notify our KOA by 4 p.m. 2 days prior to arrival, then you would get, I guess, money back, less a $10 cancellation fee. Notify our KOA 1 week prior to your arrival date for cabins. Okay. So anyway, that appears, and then it went on to say, and I took a screenshot and I cut off some. They actually have special cancellation policies for major holidays,
Okay.
special events, things like that. And I thought that was, and it looks like from what I can read of it, because like I said,
Yeah.
it looks like during holiday weekends and special event weekends, they require 7 days.
Okay.
So they actually, there's a more lucrative, is that the right word, or easier,
Okay.
because it sounds like you can wait till 2 days prior, 4 p.m. 2 days prior. So I guess if we had a reservation for a Friday,
You do
4 p.m. on Wednesday, we would have
yeah.
up until 4 p.m. on Wednesday, and then we would get, it says either all cancellations will incur either a $10 cancellation fee or the full forfeiture. So I'm assuming if we do it by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, we only lose $10 and we get the rest of it back. But if we do it after, then we lose everything. So anyway,
Yeah.
so that was the KOA in Keachie. Like I said, we have stayed there. We just recently stayed at this campground, the Hilton Head National RV Resort.
Very posh.
Do you want to take a guess what their cancellation policy is?
I'm going to say you get your deposit back if you cancel, let's say, 48 hours in advance.
Okay. And you're wrong.
Of course.
And if I remember right, you do. They're like us. They require payment up front for the full amount.
Okay.
It says here, cancellations made more than 14 days in advance will be refunded in full, less a $25 processing fee. So that's similar to our policy, except ours is 7 days or greater, 7 to 29. This actually sounds like it doesn't matter if you were to make a reservation for next year at this time, and then we called next month to cancel, we'd still lose $25. Where with us, if you cancel 30 days or greater, we give you everything back. Okay. Cancellations made 14 days to 1 day prior to the arrival date will be issued a reservation credit in the amount of the original deposit and charged a $25 processing fee. Reservation credit must be used within 1 year of the original reservation date. So what they do is they won't even refund your money.
They give you
after
credit.
They will give you credit, and you have 1 year to use it, and you still lose a $25 processing
Right.
fee. So anyway,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very technical, some of these.
I know. All right. I think I have. Yes, the other place we recently stayed.
Yeah.
Was
Margaritaville.
Pigeon Forge. That's right. And I did look at the specific Pigeon Forge. I don't know if all margaritas have the Margaritavilles have the same cancellation policy or not. But it says here, cancellations must be received at least 7 days prior to arrival to receive a refund of your deposit. No shows or cancellations made less than 4 days prior to arrival will be charged the full remaining balance on your reservation. So apparently Margaritaville, and the thing was, we went over there, we just paid because ours was a same-day reservation.
Right.
But evidently they do a deposit. But what they're saying is if you don't cancel 4 days or greater, so 4 days or less, and you call up and cancel, not only are they keeping your deposit, they're charging your credit card for the remaining balance, if I'm reading that right.
Ooh-wee.
And then they do a $10 cancellation fee that's applicable to all cancellations.
Okay.
And then, like every campground in America, there's no refunds for inclement weather or early departure, so that's pretty common. Let's see, what else do we have here? I wanted to do this one, Fair Harbor, down in Perry, Georgia.
Fair Harbor.
Because I think that's,
it's very nice.
Yeah, very nice private campground, not a national chain like Margaritaville.
Yeah, it's private.
100% of your reservation fee is required at time of booking. So that's similar. That's all, that's like us. So they require, if you book 3 nights, you got to pay for all 3 nights up front. And then, let's see, cancellation policy. The booking fee for an online reservation is non-refundable. Cancellations are subject to a minimum of $10 cancellation fee. So it seems like the cancellation fees range from $10 to $25. And made within 1 day of scheduled check-in are subject to a penalty up to 1 day of the reservation fee. Please contact the office for cancellations. Let's see. So it says, it looks like you can cancel, as long as you cancel within 1 day, you'll lose a day. So if you'd paid for 3, as long as you cancel a day prior or greater, you'll get everything back, it sounds like, other than 1 day. So like, let's say your site was $60, 3 nights, 180, you're going to get 120 of the 180 back. So that's an interesting one. That's a little different than some of these others. Let's talk about Disney. I think this is an interesting one.
Okay.
So I already mentioned that at Disney, when you book, they charge you one night's camping fees as your
Right.
deposit, regardless of how many nights you book.
Right.
So, which, by the way I book Disney, sometimes we end up basically paying for our trip in advance because, I book in
You do
chunks.
chunks of the trip.
So, I'll go in and maybe only 2 nights are available.
Yeah.
So I book it, then they charge me a one-night deposit. So on that reservation, we still owe for one night. And then I'll go in and find another night, and I book it, and then I have to pay a one-night deposit on it. So last year it was, I can't remember if it was
Didn't you have 5 reservations at
Christmas,
Christmas
4 or
time?
5, yeah. But the interesting thing was, we didn't know a whole lot because each reservation, every time I made a reservation,
Yeah.
I had to pay a one-night deposit.
Which was okay. We kind of had it.
Yeah, it was kind
It
of
was like a
prepaid.
payment plan.
It was kind
We
of
made
like
up our own
payment.
payment plan.
Yeah, I have found a way around that though,
Yeah.
which is, and not to turn this into the How to Book Fort Wilderness podcast, but just as a little side note, if you go into your original reservation, you can actually say modify it,
Uh-huh.
and then you can look to see if you can add on days.
Yeah.
And if it does add on, because it's just modifying the original reservation, they don't take another deposit. So,
Oh,
yeah.
aren't you swift?
And then you don't have to explain to the front desk why you have 5 reservations
And they
for,
make
for
me laugh.
one for
They
one trip.
giggle at you, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's how they. But here, I thought this was interesting, and maybe it's just because they're such a large campground, they can absorb losing some money along the way. It says reservations can be modified or canceled without penalty at least 5 days prior to your arrival. It says, yeah. So I guess that's it.
Okay, so 5 days prior to your arrival.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then if you're on a vacation package, so this gets really technical because Disney sells like vacation
Yeah.
packages and things like that. Then there's different rules where it's like 30 days prior. But I've always said like Disney's good. That's why we a lot of times have booked things at Disney because we know like if something comes up between now and Christmas, we'll be able to get all that money back.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's easier for a large corporation to absorb, potential financial loss, where for a smaller campground like ours,
it's hard. You
know,
can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, a good example, and I'm not trying to justify, well, maybe I am, our policies, but, here at Happy Acres, our camping season is limited.
Right.
Open, last weekend in April, closed third weekend in October.
Right.
Limited number of nights that we can make money. And, so you have to maximize every site. And the other thing is, we only have like 91 sites here with cabins
Right.
and things
Versus what Disney's
like that.
like
800, 900,
Yeah.
plus their 900 cabins or whatever it is. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. A large corporation actually has a very nice cancellation
It's a
policy.
very
But I don't know if you noticed, they don't let you call up the day of your arrival and cancel
No.
and not get penalized. So
Right.
I'm just shocked that somebody actually was doing that. I mentioned Magunta Cook at the start.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
remember how I said when we used the last couple times we went there, I had to pay in full and there was no refunds. So I thought, that's what I was expecting to find. But apparently the new ownership group has changed it and says, what is our cancellation policy for nightly or weekly stays? No refunds on or after arrival.
Okay.
Cancellations made at least 14 days in advance will be refunded in the form of which it was paid, less a $20 cancellation fee. So now we're back. Everybody's got a cancellation
Yeah.
fee.
Yeah.
Okay. But at least now you can cancel, as long as you cancel 14 days or prior, you'll get all your money back except for your deposit.
Yeah.
It says deposit will be forfeited for all reservations canceled less than 14 days prior, which that's more strict than ours because at 7 days or prior, you can get everything back minus your $25. So, so you notice these are all over the board.
Well, it's like, ugh,
Yeah, I
mine's
know.
going.
It's just crazy.
"Ah."
So, and then
Can't keep up.
somewhere, I don't know where it went to. I had Forest Ridges, and I can't find it now. So I guess we won't get to talk about our friends Jeff and Lynn's park because, my brain's kind of fried. It's been a busy week here at the
It
campground.
has.
I don't remember what theirs was. I think I know what it is. It says right on their website, absolutely no refunds. And what Jeff and Lynn will do is, again, like a credit where you can come another time. But
Sure.
once you book, and they're kind of the same situation we are, where it's small park, limited camping season, especially because of Maine weather. They're farther north than we are. And so, they only got about 80 sites, I think. And so, I get why they do that. So, but they will allow you to reschedule
Mm-hmm.
and use that credit. And then if you don't use it within the, I don't know if it's within the camping season or within a year, I don't remember that. But then you will actually
Sure.
forfeit it. Forfeit it?
50,
Forfeit. Sheesh, I haven't even started drinking yet today.
Are you sure?
And then the last one I looked at
Yeah.
was our local KOA, because I thought, well, this will be a
The
good
local
comparison.
KOA.
Yeah, and again, this is why I don't think KOA necessarily has or forces.
Like a universal thing?
Yeah. So our local KOA, which is like 2 miles down the road,
Mm-hmm.
says their RV site cancellation policy is if you're canceling more than 48 hours before your reservation, you'll be refunded a deposit minus a $10 processing fee. If it's less than 48, then you lose everything. So there's, ours is 7 days. Theirs is basically 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a little, they allow you to get a little bit closer. But this KOA is a big KOA
It's
again,
big.
and it's a corporate KOA, I
Mhm.
believe. I believe KOA actually owns
Oh, I think
this
so.
one. So, again, I feel like, it's kind of like us with the eBay. A lot of buyers, we do free returns.
Right.
Okay. But just because you get a free return doesn't mean we're going to refund your original shipping,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not Amazon. We can't
No.
afford to pay to ship a product to you,
And then pay to
ship it back.
Yeah, can't do that.
No, and especially for things like, it just wasn't the right color.
It didn't match my shoes.
It didn't match my shoes or, whatever.
We had that one.
Yeah. So, and my favorite one was, I found one cheaper. Okay. You can do that with Amazon,
Yeah.
but like eBay resellers like us,
You can't.
I mean, number one, we're real. I know
We're
people
little.
people probably think we're just rolling in the dough with the old eBay
No.
business. But the truth is, you go out and you buy something for $5, let's say, even if you sell it for $30, by the time we pay our eBay fees,
Yep.
and those are they're not cheap. I'm not complaining. I mean, eBay does a lot for us. They give us a platform and they
Right.
collect money and sales tax and all that. But by the time they do that, and then we pay for a box and we pay for packing material
Yep.
and tape to tape that box, and just printer, what do you call it, the label,
Labels.
yeah, all that, that $5 item that sold for 30, we might actually net $8 or $9,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't a lot.
No.
And so, and then if we're saying free returns,
Right.
then all of a sudden when we have to pay, $6 to get it back, yeah, there's not a lot of meat on the bone. Anyway, I digress, because this isn't the eBay podcast either. But just trying to say, as a small business owner ourselves, we understand why smaller campgrounds have tighter cancellation policies.
Well, and I think of anything that, like the dentist or doctors, there's a cancellation policy there.
Right.
My hair salon, that she, out of respect, too,
Right.
for some of these individuals who have services and whatnot. But a lot of things have cancellation policies, and you don't always get all of your money back.
Right.
But, I think what's happened is, and we heard it somewhere else on a YouTuber talking, that Amazon has kind of spoiled everybody.
They have. Yeah. I
And
think
people expect
all their money back for everything.
anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the hotels are now doing things where they'll do like, if you are okay with not getting a refund if you don't make it, they'll give you like a really, what is it? They'll give you a lower rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're like, no, I need to be able to cancel 24 hours just in case, then you tend to pay a higher rate. I kind of wonder if the camping industry will ever go to something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
To where maybe here at Happy Acres we say, site, if you need to cancel within 48 hours or 24 hours, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and get your money back, then the rate is $75. But if you're okay with booking this right now, paying cash, and getting no money back, whether you come or not, we can do it for $50. It would be interesting how many people, because like I said, that's happening in the hotel industry, and it might even be happening in the airline industry too. The other thing that I really wish we would go to, and I know it's an option with our reservations, I wish we just go to travel insurance. So the way travel insurance works for campgrounds is when you book your reservation, assuming your campground participates. Currently, we don't. But if we did, you would be given the option to purchase travel insurance for your stay. And then if you have to cancel, you don't ask us for a refund. You go through the travel insurance that you bought. If you didn't buy travel insurance, sorry, Charlie. And then that kind of puts that back on, the consumer.
Right.
And I was thinking about this myself. I was like, would we ever buy travel insurance if we were booking a campsite? And I was thinking probably not.
Probably not.
But we would. But here's the thing: you and I also know going into these things. Like last month or 2 months ago now, because this is August. 2 months ago, when we left that Jellystone after one night,
we just knew that was gone money.
we knew that money was gone. I didn't even go up and check out.
We
like
just
we just
knew
left. Because
we lost it,
because I had several people reach out and say, I can't believe you didn't go up and ask for a refund. Refund for what?
Well, we just knew they're not going to give it back.
They're not going to give it back.
Why would they?
I mean, we're already checked in, and it's a site that they rent, and technically our trailer fit on it. It was just a horrible site, and we were unhappy.
Yeah.
But we can't ask them to give our money back because there would have been somebody else they could have rented that to who probably would have been thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you and I are probably different in the sense that we understand how business works and things like that. And
well, I think there's sometimes you just got to eat it.
Yeah. And then, the other thing was we had 3 nights on the way home in Kentucky, and I called them. And the only reason I called them, I wasn't looking for any money back.
No.
I just wanted to let them know we can't make it and you can sell those sites. And I remember the lady goes, oh, okay, well, you'll get everything back minus like $20. And I'm like, really? And she's like, oh, yeah, because you're like 8 days out. They were like, their policy there was like our policy here, where as long as you cancel 7 days or prior, you get your money back less an administrative fee. And so I was pleasantly surprised. But I was fully prepared at that point because honestly, I didn't even know how many days in advance I was canceling.
Right.
I just assumed we would lose our money because, summer travel season, I know these campgrounds, busy and
it's a busy time.
Yep. So we just thought it would be interesting. I don't know about you, Patty, if you enjoyed my research on this. And
you always do research on.
Well, I try because I wanted to compare. I didn't want to just look at our policy here and say, well, everybody's policy, because I knew everybody's policies weren't the same. Like they're all over the board.
I'm just shocked you didn't make a spreadsheet.
Well, I could have made a chart and a graph.
Because, if it wasn't computerized back in the day, it would have been like a clipboard of fun.
Oh, yeah. I would have had it all mapped out with a Gantt chart or something.
Yeah.
But, no, I just thought it would be interesting. And that's why. And I tried to look at some campgrounds where we've stayed at. Because honestly, like I said, usually when I book, I do either ask that question or look up on their website just so we have an idea. It's a lot of times it's not a deal breaker. The only time I think it's a deal breaker potentially is if we're not 100% sure we're going and there's absolutely no chance of a refund. Then I think we hold off on booking until we know.
Until we know we could go.
Yeah.
You just don't want to throw away your money,
but like Disney, I've always been booking at Disney because it's like, I know I can cancel. And get our money back.
Absolutely.
The problem is it's just a lot of money you got to give them up front, even at one night, when the sites are $250 a night, it's like, ooh, that's a big deposit.
Doggy.
You know how many nights you could stay at Happy Acres for $250? I mean, so anyway.
A lot.
All right. Well, hopefully this at least gets you thinking about the next time you book a campsite. Make sure you ask questions like whether you can get your money back and when do you need to cancel by. And it might even be something where you want to circle it on a calendar, whether that's a virtual calendar on your phone or your laptop, or whether it's an actual paper calendar, which we still have at home. We like our paper calendar.
I still like paper
on the refrigerator. But circling that date, and that way hey, if I want to cancel this, I've got to call by this day and get it canceled.
Absolutely. Yep.
And as always, huge shout out to our friend, our producer,
Jim.
Mr. Jim Kuzman, who
Thank you, Jim.
works his magic with all of our audio flubs and goof ups and.
I think we need to sound like magic.
Magic, yeah. We got to get Jim back on the podcast. He hasn't been on, in about,
6 months.
7 months. It was Thanksgiving weekend. So, which it'll be Thanksgiving weekend again this year because that's probably the next time we'll get to see him and Abe. So
everybody's busy.
Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
But anyway, and thank you to all of you for taking time out of your day to listen to us ramble on.
Ramble on.
Till next time, everybody. We'll see ya.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with the lady. We'll see you on down the road.